All right, welcome back. This is the Coach Mo Golf Show, and I'm your host, Coach Mo. And today I have a very special guest, and we're going to be doing the intersection of golf and technology. And there's nobody better than to have on the show right now than one of the leading technology brands out there for golf. I've got Justin Bryant here with Rapsodo. He is product development and marketing for Rapsodo Golf. So thanks for being on the show and taking your time to be here today and talk Rapsodo with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me. Always love talking golf and Rapsodo, so excited to dive in.
Yeah, and I do want to talk a lot about Rapsodo, but I also like to, the guests to kind of know like who we're talking to, and so diving into a little bit of your history. And I know you were a former college player and played at Wake Forest, so if you don't mind, kind of taking us back, like your golf journey, how you got into golf, and how did it lead you up to working for Rapsodo today?
Yeah, I kind of joined, I think, similar story. Like my dad was really into golf, and so like that was a way we bonded and spent time together was playing golf. And he was a club champion here locally at St. Louis out at Bell Reef Country Club. That's hosted some majors, so he was very proud of that, and always was very competitive with me. So we played a ton, and then kind of started getting serious, I would say, in high school, and kind of wanted to see how good I could get, and was lucky to go to Wake Forest University, play with Coach Jerry Haas. And then, I chased the tour, as they say, for about 7 years, grinded, played mini tours, played some Corn Ferry events, played like the World Par 3 Championship in Bermuda. I played like whatever I could find.
Yeah.
And kind of during, I think it was end of 2019, I missed my card on the Corn Ferry by a few shots, and I had a couple kids. And at that point, it's like, man, my game's really trending. It feels good, but I have like responsibilities at home and in the travel. And then COVID happened. So it kind of, put a pause on whatever status you had. So I essentially had like no status for the next 2 years unless like and I was, our Monday qualifier is going to be available with COVID and things like that. So it was kind of a good force, I would say, to kind of because we all know it's like you feel like you're always so close, and at least for me, it was a blessing in the sense that kind of forced me to do something else. And was kind of looking around, wasn't necessarily trying to stay in golf, but I'm from St. Louis. My wife and my boys, we lived here and like found Rapsodo. And at that time, they had the MLM products that had just launched in 2019. And I was like, wow, this is really cool technology. I had wanted launch monitors and had used other launch monitors like TrackMan at Wake and things like that. But I couldn't, afford my own device to practice. But I was kind of seeing this trend in technology in golf. And so, um, just wanted to jump in. So was really fortunate to kind of be in the right place at the right time, um, and moved into a product role where I worked on the MLM in the development of the MLM2 Pro. And as we kind of transitioned to the MLM2 Pro launch, I moved into a marketing role. And so now I kind of I'm the community manager. Which we wear a lot of hats there, which is a lot of fun, but deal with kind of the marketing aspect, partnerships, community engagement, um, things like that. So it's been a really fun ride. Got my amateur status back, and
Nice.
still love to compete. So, the dream's still alive to win the US Am or US Mid Am and tee it up in the US Open or the Masters. But it just looks different now with three kids and a job. So, but still
Right.
love the game. Still love to compete.
That's awesome. And, like being such a high level player that you were and still are, that technology component, or what are certain details or features that are in Rapsodo that really have intrigued you to kind of be a part of the development team?
Yeah. So I think what was like, you know, as I was growing up, it was completely different thought process than it was today. Like I remember my dad taught me like swing 80%. It was a lot more like hit the fairway. And obviously we've kind of understood now more data, statistics, how to launch the ball to maximize your distance and things like that. So um, I think you know, I was in that transition when I was playing and I didn't really have access to the tools to know how to make those improvements and to know if I was improving, right? Because I
Right.
just didn't have access to TrackMan all the time. And so it's now I think there's just basic things that, depending where you are on your journey in golf, it's like one, you need to understand how far you hit the ball, right? Like that's just golf 101. It's hard to
Right.
pull the right club on the course if you don't, but as you improve in your journey in golf, it's like you need to be benchmarking yourself along the way. So whether that's, right now I'm trying to get a little bit more speed, so like it's benchmarking myself, see how fast I'm swinging, see the ball speed. The MLM2 Pro is capable of, picking up your club speed without a ball. So, using things like the stack system to speed train.
Yeah.
But, there's also the combines, which I'm a huge fan of, which we developed with Sasha McKenzie, which is, giving yourself a little pressure and giving yourself an assessment. So I think there's just kind of these little things people can do to improve where it's putting a little pressure on yourself, but also kind of, having that satisfaction at the end of your practice session that, okay, I accomplished something, or maybe today wasn't a good practice session, but at least I know what happened versus
Right.
like kind of just going out there and swinging. So
Yeah.
I equate it to
Absolutely.
like my friends when, they want help and they're asking, and you're going to know this better than me, but I always kind of equate it to, okay, what are you trying to do when you're on the range? What are you working on? And I find a lot of people, essentially, I make the basketball analogy. It's like they go to the gym and they kind of just like take a basketball and they kind of just shoot it, but there's no hoop, right? They're kind of like, I'm working
Yeah.
on my shot, and like the ball's just kind of like airballing and bouncing, but they're like, oh, it feels good. But then they get into like a basketball game and they're like, oh boy, like there's a target. So I kind of equate it to the same of golf, is like people go out to
Yeah.
the range and like they don't really have a target and they don't really like understand, like they're not trying to hit certain numbers, and then they get to the
Right.
course and they kind of like freak out psychologically because they haven't been practicing that. And
Yeah.
obviously there's a time and a place to work on technique and not worry about the result, but we need to make sure we're also kind of putting that gamified practice into play before you go to the
Right.
course. So
Absolutely. That data-driven coaching, data-driven practicing. I mean, at this day and age, with all the technology available, even AI entering the picture, like I as a coach, like I don't understand how someone can not look at the data and not be inspired to take, look at and assess and say, hey, I'm in a good range there. That's good. But like over here, that needs a little bit of work. How do I go about that? It just seems like you would be chasing your tail, wasting a lot of time trying to improve and get better. Like you said, just like shooting the ball all over the place. I don't, and as a coach, like for us, like the tools like Rapsodo and, I use Sportsbox and all these different technologies that really help. And it just kind of like creates all these shortcuts in coaching because instead of guessing and, I'm not sure maybe that's improved or, the player in front of you that you're trying to help get to the next level, whether they're an amateur, college player, or professional, you don't have time to guess. Like you need to know kind of is this going in the right direction or is it not? And how do I, reroute and get us back on track? So I love this kind of stuff. I love learning about it. And I think it's not just for the coaches. Like some of the technology you guys have, number one, the price points are so affordable. These are great tools for not only coaches to have or college players or professionals, but the amateur golfer out there. If you don't mind telling us about kind of the two different golf launch monitors that you have that are basically mobile, right?
absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's really like the genesis of our company too. It
Yeah.
was, our CEO is an engineer, and he went out and was hitting golf balls, and um, he wanted an insight into what was going on, right? And so he kind of wanted to he searched, found there were good solutions, but they were very expensive, and he's like, I can make that, but much more affordable. So, we want to have really high quality products, but at an affordable price. So, ours are the MLM is at $299, and the MLM2 Pro is 200 or $699. So, we're giving access, but providing really accurate data and video with it too, which is really kind of separates us a little bit, is to kind of have that video aspect to it,
And
which is
video
great.
meaning because I haven't received mine yet. Like I haven't used it. So I'm just as curious as like people out there are not familiar with the product. When you're
Yeah.
saying the video, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so the MLM2 Pro has two integrated cameras in the unit itself. So it's a unit that's going to sit behind you. It's radar based, but there are cameras, so we're using both technologies. So it's going to sit behind you, meaning, in line with the target, behind the ball, um, about 6.5 feet. So one camera is a 2K camera, so you're going to kind of see your swing from behind the line. If you're outside, it's going to give you a shot tracer, and then we also have the impact vision camera, which is really cool. It's 240 frames per second, and it's actually showing you like the ball, the club, and I call it the moment of truth, the club hitting the ball, which is great
Yes.
for people to actually see. Because I think there's that kind of connection, like aha moment I've learned with people where they're like, oh, I hit that off the heel, and you actually look at the impact vision you show and it was off the toe. So kind of just getting feel versus real and actually like what's happening with the club and, understanding, okay, I hit that off the toe, the gear effect happened and the ball like drew. So maybe that wasn't really, your path that was happening. It's really more of the impact location and kind of understanding center strikes and things like that. So there's a big learning component to that. And you can also pair, your phone or iPad that's connected to the unit to get another angle as well. So it turns your iPad, iPhone into a third camera, so you can get, wherever whatever angle you'd want. Most people want kind of that face on, so then you got face on down the line with the metrics. So just the ability to kind of have those videos saved with you is huge. So transparently, I'm not a huge video person. I get cringe every time I see my swing. I think all golfers to some level cringe when they see their own swings.
Yeah.
But what I love about it is I don't always have to look at the video while I'm playing, so I can just look at the metrics, things like that. But I have the video when I want it. So I could say, all right, I didn't look at that video that day, but on, October 17th, I was hitting it really well. What was I doing? I can pull the video back up, right? Or, I come home and I wasn't hitting it well today, and I can kind of see what was happening, or I can see it in real time. So it's
Right.
not something that you're like consciously have to set up. It's just kind of always there, which is great. And to have like the metrics in the video for you to like look at, or for me to like send my coach and just be like, hey, like I was hitting it weird today. It felt,
Yeah.
this is what it felt like, and then just send him some videos with the data for him to actually see, okay, what did his setup look like? What was his club speed, and kind of get a more holistic picture of what's going on, other than me just telling him what it felt like.
Right.
Because obviously, normally we can't see our coaches every day, but it's kind of that in between where we sometimes, lose the magic of the lesson. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, that moment of truth, I mean, that's when we're coaching and impact is obviously crucial to the ball flight and contact. But super cool. And I remember when I was at the PGA show, we were at the Troon kind of happy hour with you guys, and I was able to see that and the down the line and the impact, and that was definitely really cool. But you guys have two different models out there for golf. I know you guys work with baseball and softball as well, but for
Yeah.
golf, those two models. So if someone's, listening to the show and they're like, hey, I was looking into getting a launch monitor, for the backyard or the garage. What are the differences between the two models when someone's going out to, decide, should I get the ML2 Pro or should I get the MLM Mobile?
Yeah, great question. So I would say the MLM, first of all, is just gonna work with it's a radar-based unit, and then it's gonna use your iPad or phone, actually sits in the cradle behind you. So again, they're both gonna be behind you. But the MLM is gonna use your phone or iPad to get the video portion of it. So we're actually using the camera in the iPad or iPhone to track the ball as well with the radar. So that only is going to work with iOS. It's not Android compatible. So that's one differentiator. The second one is the MLM2 Pro is obviously Android and iOS, but it has that impact vision camera. So if that's something that's really interesting to you, or to kind of have that third view, that would be a differentiator. And then the biggest one is simulation capabilities. So the MLM2 Pro, we have a virtual range where you can kind of see your ball in 3D flight, which you could do outdoors or indoors. We have a target range where I don't know if you're going to tell the people, but you hold out on the target range at the PGA show on the Island Green, arguably the
Yes.
hardest one. Um, so we have like a couple ranges, and we also have access to 30,000 courses that you can play on there. as well as other software integrations like Awesome Golf E6, and then we have GS Pro coming out soon. So if you're really thinking, okay, like I want to take something where I can, take it to the course and the range, but play simulation, the MLM2 Pro is for you. If you're looking for, something that you can take to the course and the range, but you don't really care about, the simulation, you kind of just want to focus on the numbers, the MLM may be a better solution for you, just because it's not going to provide the simulation. But they're both extremely portable. The MLM is slightly smaller, but MLM2 Pro, I mean, it easily fit in your golf bag. It's very, very small. Comes into two pieces and has a nice traveling case. So
Yeah, that I mean, it was very slender, and then what it had the three legs that propped out. I mean,
yeah,
how much does that weigh? It was
it
like a
weighs
couple
like a
pounds?
pound or two. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very, very
it's
small.
very yeah, absolutely. And you said how many courses are on that?
30,000 are on
Wow.
the 2 Pro. So yeah, we have our own simulation software there. So what's great about that is you can play like your home course. So like
Yeah,
actually just last weekend I played like our home course with my two of my boys. But like you can prepare for your club championship. I'm still playing some amateur events, and sometimes I travel and don't have time to play a practice round, or just kind of want to do my homework a little bit more. Like I'll
yeah,
pull it up and play it on there, and it's like it feels like I've prepared, right? Because it's like,
right.
okay, I have a general sense of the second hole, what I'm going to hit, right? Like I may get
Yeah,
there and the wind may be different and maybe hotter or colder, but it's like I at least know generally what I'm doing. So
yeah,
it's really great for that as well. And it's just fun, right? It's just when
yeah,
want to play some golf and it's cold. It's cold up here in St. Louis. We get itching to play in the winter, and you can go down and set it up in your garage or basement and play some golf. So
yeah. It was fun, and I was telling you earlier at the PGA show with the Troon Cocktail Hour, they were doing a closest to the pin contest, and I asked, I don't know who it was on your team. I think it might have been Peter. And I was like, hey, can I loosen up? Like I got rear-ended a couple months ago and my back is just stiff. I just want to hit a few before my like three shots for the closest to the pin. He's like, yeah, go for it. And so I'm like getting loose and, a couple are good. And then, I start having a hard time getting to my left side. So a couple thin ones. And next one, I'm like, all right, I really got to get left. So I did. And he was like, hey, that one's looking pretty good. And then it was like, boom, boom, right in the hole. And I was like, damn it, like wrong time to make a hole in one. And then,
wasted it.
yeah, I
It
know
was a
my
cool
next
moment
three.
though. It was cool.
Yeah,
When you told me that, I was like, I wasn't like there for it, but I remember kind of hearing the reaction from Bill. She made it. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, well, 17 feet later on the actual ones, didn't do me too good. But no, but just kind of in there and experiencing it, like the simulation, it was great. It was clear. It was a cool thing to set up, and so like that kind of thing you could set up like we're thinking of at St. John's, doing some events with this kind of technology. And so you can just easily set up like closest to the pin challenges like that, and then you could play, any of the 30,000 courses. I mean, that's awesome. That's where kind of golf seems to be evolving is, get to play when you can, but maybe if you don't quite have the time to make a tee time and get to the course, like let's go play a round of golf, on the Rapsodo or, whatever technology you have.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool to see how it's changed over the years, and the great thing about it too is um, it's very flexible with, I would say, what your space and budget is. So like I can't swing in my house in my basement. So like I set mine up outside on the patio, and like we play into a net. So all you really need is a mat and a net, and like we use my iPad. My boys are small enough and the basement's big enough for them where they can swing. So like in the wintertime we set it up and like they play down there, and I kind of watch them, and I can hit chips and pitch shots with them and things like that. But it's like, so there's the basic mat and net setup with like an iPad. In the basement, we stream it to the TV. And then, as you saw at the PGA show, like you can also outfit it with like a really nice bay or a nice projector. And so it's really cool to see like the community have completely different setups. I mean, you got to go on Facebook and check out some of these setups. I mean, the imagination people have is like you'll see, people, doing it themselves or spending a lot of money for people to have the really nice custom. But then you have these people with like inflatable ones in their backyard, like,
Wow.
tents. And it's it's really cool to just kind of see the access available to play golf. whenever
Yeah.
you want, all the time, even if
It,
it's just
it
in your backyard. Like it just didn't exist. Like when I was a kid, backyard golf was like wiffle ball, right? You get like
right.
a tennis ball or like a wiffle ball and you'd kind of like play golf. And it's like now you really just need like enough room to swing and you can get a mat, Emblem
Oh
2
yeah.
Pro, and you can play golf anywhere. So it's pretty cool.
It's absolutely revolutionizing the game and give providing access to those, maybe who don't have the weather year round, the budget, to go out. I mean, there's just so many reasons to invest in one of these. Very, very cool. Now, there's a lot of metrics on there and there's a lot of different technology that's out there in a similar kind of space. What do you guys do that might separate yourselves from some of the other launch monitors out there?
Yeah, great question. There's a lot of space is getting more crowded than it was, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. I would say the first is just the price. So price point, we're priced at a really affordable price. The portability. So there's a lot of good solutions out there, but some of them are just, outdoor, some of them are just indoor. And for us to be indoor or outdoor, is
Yeah,
huge within that. And then the video capabilities is kind of the third differentiator. So for us to have three different ways to kind of view your swing is super unique. Some devices, you can pair your phone and so you can have that video, but for us, it's like, hey, no matter what you do, you're going to get two videos stored on there. And if you want a third angle, like you have that option as well. So, um, those are kind of the big differentiators, I would say. So
yeah,
price, portability, indoor, outdoor, and then the video
yeah,
cameras. But, we also have competitive in terms of the simulation and other metrics as well.
yeah. That now the indoor outdoor, because I've had a flight scope too, and I know sometimes outside we're in Florida and the heat, you leave it out there, it doesn't quite, it gets a little angry with us when it gets a little hot. How do you guys deal with, like, rain and heat? Like, is the Rapsodo, the devices holding up pretty well, or
Yeah,
in
it's
terms
definitely
of,
not designed to be used in the rain. I mean, if it's like
yeah,
a very slight mist, I would say you're okay. But if it's raining, you definitely want to cover it. Like I don't know if you went out to demo day this year, the PGA show. Um,
no,
it
for the
was
reason of how nasty it was.
It was rainy and cold. We had them set up and we just had the tent over it. So like make sure it's not getting rained on,
Yeah,
but otherwise it's going to track the ball in the rain. So that's not the
yeah,
issue. It's just you don't want the device isn't, designed to
getting
be
wet.
sitting out there in the rain. In terms of heat, no problems. Never had a problem with the heat. The battery life on it's like 4 to 6 hours. So you can use it while it's plugged in. But it's going to last you a long time. The only thing you would have to be a little conscious of outside is it does need to be connected to your iPad or iPhone. So, those devices can overheat in the sun. So you kind of just have to
Right.
make sure they're shaded. Um, because,
Yeah.
they overheat if you're listening to your Spotify or something while you're practicing too. So,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, no, it's extremely durable.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then the price point, I mean, under $1,000 for both, you could literally get two units for under $1,000 if you got
Yeah,
MLM 2 Pro and the mobile.
you could. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Now, in terms of coaching, like we access and utilize technology a lot while we're teaching, but the average player out there, how can they utilize like a Rapsodo to approach their practice, in between, some people are maybe not getting lessons at all and they're just trying to wing it and improve. And then, there's other players that are working with coaches, but we might see them kind of periodically. So like that in between, how can they utilize this? Is there any sort of training programs involved with it, or what have you seen, players doing to improve their practice sessions?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think first, I'm going to break it up into a couple of different things. I think that in between that you talked about is great. So like, you give somebody a lesson and then you may see him a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. It's like you kind of don't have an insight into what's going on. So I think one
Yeah.
thing that's great about it is whether they, are hitting the ball awesome in between or they're struggling in between, if they're using the MLM2 Pro, when they come to the lesson, or they can send it to you in between. They can send you the data, they can send you the videos. It just kind of hopefully makes your job easier and shortens that learning curve, as you said earlier, because it's then you can kind of see actually what they were doing, in between the
Yeah.
lesson. Uh,
Yeah.
and kind of give them the insights to say like, well, it may not feel good, the grip change may not feel good, but look, your ball speed actually jumped from last week,
Right.
or it may be, hey, thanks for sending the videos, like you're actually not doing the setup what we talked about. Here's a reminder. So I think hopefully it helps your job, but also just helps them kind of shorten that curve, because it's keeping them, I don't want to say accountable, but it's kind of like giving them the information to relay to you, right? Because I think,
Right.
I've had a million lessons, and it's sometimes it's like in between I just feel lost.
Yeah.
But to kind of be able to show them what I'm working on, how the data is playing into it, show them the video, it's just kind of like it gives them kind of like a whoop, right? It's kind of giving you
Yeah.
the metrics of what's happening a little bit. So I think that's kind of the in between. In terms of programs, we have the combine in there, and I think that's just like a good thing that everyone could be doing. So ours it's two approach targets and it's a driving target. It's 24 shots. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes, and it's going to give you a good assessment on your game. So whether you think you're really good at something or not, it's going to, let's say you pick a 50 yards, 100 yards in a driver, you're going to hit two at 50 yards, two at 100 yards, two drivers, two at 50, two at 100 yards, two drivers. So you're kind of going through that routine, which makes it feel a little bit more like the course. And at the end of it, it's going to give you your average proximity, how that relates to your Tour Pro, how that relates to your handicap, and kind of gives you a score. So I would say it's kind of giving you the mirror, right? I think it's
Yeah.
sometimes, oh, I'm really good at 50 yards. Well, it's like, are you actually good? So it's kind
Yeah.
of just showing you a little bit of that, and what to work on, I would say a little bit, right? So it's kind of giving you those strengths and weaknesses. Um, but there's so many ways you can use it, and I think that's like where working with a coach like yourself can help, right? So I think it's kind of, there's 13 metrics on there, but I don't look at all 13 when I'm practicing. It's typically a couple things. So like, with my boys, I'm kind of like showing them maybe their smash factor with their driver, and kind of showing them the impact vision, right? It's like, let's work on
Right.
contact, but also maintain club head speed. Um, and for me, it's normally, okay, right now I'm working, let's just say, on my wedges. So I'm just focused on, carry distance, spin and launch
Yeah.
angle, because I want to launch it low, have high spin with good contact, but carry at the right number. So um, I think there's just a lot of different ways you can use it depending on where you kind of are in your journey. But kind of what I tell people first when they get it is like, hey, I don't care how far you think you hit it, go in there, hit like 6 to 10 shots with each club. Let's get an idea of like, where you are. Maybe do that like once a month for the first couple months, just so you can kind of see, because everyone has bad days hitting it, right? But
Right.
that's at least going to give you an idea of what's going on. And you may right off the bat be like, wow, my 4 and 5 iron go the same distance.
Yeah.
And maybe you need a different club. But it's just kind of understanding, that. And then I always say take a combine. And then from there, it's kind of, I would say, uh, lean in with your coach, right? They're going to
Yeah.
know your game really well, and they can kind of prescribe games or drills or certain combine yardages to work on. So,
Yeah, and you touched on it earlier, that feel versus real. A lot of times when we're coaching players and they come in and they feel like they're executing their drill, or they feel like they're doing this, and then you throw them on video or you throw them on a launch monitor, and the data or the video shows something different, and they're just, they'll try to just, oh, that's not what I was doing, that's not how it usually is. But it's just like the numbers don't lie, the video doesn't lie.
yeah.
And so a lot of times they're unaware of what's actually happening versus what they think they're doing in their movement patterns. And so it's just, being able to show them that, it, I think, gives them not only direction, but then eventually it gives them confidence, because they can see, and it's not like a coach just placating them like, oh yeah, yeah, you did great today. It's just like, no, you actually did great today, like you improved by x amount miles per hour, or sports box, I'm working on hip rotation or whatever it is, and you could show it to them, and it's just like, it's indisputable. And that's what I love about technology, and I think it helps the players tremendously. And like you said earlier, it's just like a shortcut, like to that learning curve. And so this is so incredible for coaches. It's incredible for players at home. There's a way that both can utilize and access Rapsodo and other technologies out there to expedite that improvement process, which obviously makes everyone happy, when the players are succeeding and they're getting out there, they're playing more, helps the golf courses too. So there's a lot of benefits from technology in terms of how I see it. But you guys are doing great things. And, I always kind of like to see like not only where you are now, but where you're going. And you might not be able to tell me everything, but what does Rapsodo have kind of in store for, the next 3 to 5 years with technology? And do you see like AI is obviously becoming a big part of all our lives and what we do. Is there anything involved with like AI and launch monitors down the road?
Yeah, I would say there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we're really excited about. I think AI is gonna, it's gonna continue to infiltrate all parts of our life. So for sure, golf. I would say just one of the big things with what we're kind of doing is we're always listening to our users. So like even with the MLM2 Pro, like people users of the MLM are like, this is awesome, but I really want to play sim, like I really want more video angles of my swing. So it's like, that was born out of us listening to that. So that's going to happen to us with other product as well, where people wanting, different features, different things like that. So we're definitely working on some things, but I would say if anyone, is out there that has a Rapsodo or doesn't and wants to see it, reach out on social, let us know kind of, what you wish existed out there, because we want to create what people, want to use. Um, but in terms of right now, what I can share, the MLM2 Pro, we'll have a official integration with GS Pro, which is a simulation software company that's really good. And that'll be coming out here in March, in a couple weeks, which will be really exciting. And then, we're working on a couple other things I wish I could share, but that are coming to the MLM2 Pro. So it's a device that's going to be around for a long time that we're going to continue to make better and better. So there'll be some things coming this summer. I'm so excited I can't get the words
Yeah.
out, but
Oh,
yeah,
I love it. It's
yeah,
dangling the carrot in front of us. That's awesome. Well, we'll be sure we'll have to, at the end of the episode, be sure to put out social and how people can follow and kind of stay up to date on what's launching with Rapsodo. Just a couple more questions though, like with the data and like, numbers you've seen, and you guys, I know a lot of top professionals utilize Rapsodo too.
yeah.
And a lot of people are partnering and getting behind it. Have you seen like what's the most surprising data you've seen from a golfer? Like, is there anything you're like,
Oh
hey,
wow.
I didn't expect that. But the data was like,
Most.
hey, numbers don't lie.
Yeah, I think I'm just blown away by how fast people can swing, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
Sean Johnson, the guy that won the World Long Drive Championship last year, like he has an MLM2 Pro and utilizes it. There's a couple other long, and I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just blown away by those numbers. Like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to swing as fast as I can, and I'm like at 117 if I'm feeling really good and really happy.
Yeah.
And you see their numbers, and you're like, how does their body move that quickly? Like, how do they get the club to move that quick? So it's not a crazy answer, but I'm continuing to be amazed by athletes and like what they're capable of doing. And also
Yeah.
seeing the data of how many shots some people hit is
Yeah.
truly unbelievable. Like we had these like
Yeah.
year in reviews of like, you know, and people are showing like the thousands of shot they hit. And I don't know, I'm 36 and I'm like, man, my body hurts.
Trust me.
I love it.
I
I
know that
love it.
feeling.
But so I think it's just really cool to see how much golf people are playing when you look at the
Yeah.
numbers, and then just how fast, people continue to push the limits because you kind of don't, you know,
Yeah.
you
What's
think
the fastest you've seen or you guys have reported?
I'd have to look it up there, but I mean, it's like 220 ball speed around there or something
Wow.
like that. Don't quote me on it, but it's like you look
Oh,
at it and you're
yeah.
just like, that's insane. That's a cannon.
Yeah.
Like that's not a
Yeah.
swing. And then you look at the video, you're like, no, it's
Yeah.
that was
That's
hit.
those days are long behind me. That actually I've never had those days, but all I see is my numbers going down and down the tighter and stiffer I get. Oh man, that's awesome. And you guys who tell us some of the guys who are partnering, guys and gals like partnering with Rapsodo. I know I saw Claude Harmon at literally was like turned over and he was just Claude Harmon the third. I was like, Claude's right there. Like he was like
Yeah.
5 feet away from me.
Yeah, so in terms of the golf side, Mark Blackburn, Claude Harmon, Trillium Rose, those have been longtime partners, advisors and coaches that kind of have helped us in the development of these products and utilize it with their kind of everyday lessons, I would say, too,
Yeah.
which has been really cool. Baseball side, we have I think all 30 MLB teams use it, thousands of pros. Shohei Ohtani is a big user of the baseball products. So it's been really cool. We want to give athletes the tools they need to play like never before, and it's just really cool to kind of just be a small part of any athlete's journey, whether they're just getting introduced to the game or they're trying to win their club championship or win the World Series or a major. It's just cool to be involved in any part of that journey.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, to have Blackburn, Claude, I mean, those two names itself, I mean, that's
I've
insane.
learned a
So,
ton from everybody. Yeah. I mean, I
yeah.
remember like even just wedges. Like I just used to thought I was a decent wedge player and you would kind of hit my numbers and then I'd kind of be bad when it was windy and we looked at the numbers and Mark's like, you're launching your wedges at like 40 degrees. I was like, yeah. He's like, they need to be under 30. And I was like, that's so low. He's like, tour players apex with a wedge is like 50 to 70 feet. And I'm like, but that's so low. And he's like, that's what the best do. And so, I mean, even just kind of soaking up information like that, right?
Oh yeah.
Just learning from them in terms of, how we did some cool stuff with Claude recently on how he trains tour pros with their heart rate, things like that, speed drills. It's just it's cool to have them be a part of Rapsodo.
That's awesome. And I love when the technology kind of integrates. Like when Clipped, like I use that for stat tracking, and
Yeah,
like I know they're doing like the heart rate monitor. They have that integrated in with their system. So I
cool.
think I think that's kind of where things are going, is big companies partnering with other companies, and then you get some kind of foot pressure going on, and you get all these into one system, and it's like now you're cooking. Like
That's
now
right,
for the player, you're like you got everything you need in one kind of toolbox. But that's incredible. And for Mark Blackburn, number one coach in the country, if he's supporting your product, I think that speaks volumes of what you guys are doing. So
for sure, for sure.
yeah. Well, how people are listening to the show, podcast, want to follow you guys, kind of see what's up and coming. What are the best ways and platforms to follow you guys on?
Yeah, we're on all the social platforms. So at Rapsodo Golf on X, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Threads, whatever you like out there, we
Yeah.
should be on. And then just go to Rapsodo.com is a great place to kind of learn about our products, learn about the brand, sign up and kind of stay up to date on what's coming.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
a
And
lot
you
of
guys,
For
oh, go
users
ahead.
too, we have a lot of fun contests that happen. So we're wrapping up our February Shot Makers Challenge, which is we're rewarding people that made hole in ones this month with either like a Repsodo hat or a shot glass. They would get it, and just like the amount of hole in ones, I thought we were like, oh, we'll probably get like 30, kind of looking at our data normally. And then we put the challenge out, and we've had over 100 hole in ones this month, just because I think
Wow.
we're uh, people want to win. So it's been cool to see. We have a leaderboard up there, and you can kind of see your name if you made an ace. Target range aces didn't count. No, sorry, but next time we'll integrate that one. Uh, but yeah, so
I
we
was
do
wondering.
a lot of fun engagement like that with people to see. I've been trying to get a hole in one this month. I haven't made one. I don't know how all these people are making them, but they
Oh
are.
my God. I made my first one at 12. 3 months later, I made my second at 13, and I've not made one since until my warm up at
No
the
way.
Rapsodo. Yeah, there's a long gap
12
in
and
between.
13.
Yeah, 3 months apart, and then
That's
it's
wild.
never
Isn't that
happened
crazy
again.
how that works?
Yeah,
I heard something that like Tiger didn't like has like 26 but didn't make one from like 99 till like 2015 or like he didn't make one like when he was playing his best ever, which is kind of wild to me.
26. That's crazy. Well, I guess you got to play a lot. Like I don't get to play that much anymore,
Yeah.
so that the number, I got to make it every once in a while during a range warm up, I guess, at a at a PGA show. But no, that's awesome. This has been incredible. I love learning, and I think it's great for the listeners out there because they may, some people haven't probably heard or follow technology. It's not their thing, and then some people are all about it. So I think this was great for both kind of listeners, and I look forward to going to the Troon Summit in New York this weekend and seeing you guys are sponsoring the event. So
Yeah, excited to be
yeah,
there.
so learn more about it there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks, Justin. This has been awesome, and I really appreciate your time and looking forward to using your product.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.